Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to cilinixfxcapital. Hope you're all doing great. Hope you're having a great week so far. Welcome to this new video. And a pretty crucial update here on Bitcoin, because yesterday we actually had some decisive price action. I wouldn't say that everything is said and done right here for Bitcoin, because we did have a breakdown here below the POC at 84,000. And that is also the most interesting price action we've seen, and that's also the price action we'll kind of zoom in on and what that means for Bitcoin here. But ultimately, just a relatively volatile day. Volume was pretty good again. I think the volume is slightly up, or at least it's around $27.5 billion. Pretty much the same as yesterday, but that's pretty crucial. We're going to do a full update. We'll talk about the fundamentals as well. So let's get right into it. Now, one of the reasons why this morning for Bitcoin was relatively bearish, or at least as some of you might know, we had some times where Bitcoin was pushing down relatively aggressively. For example, right here, you can see it. But ultimately, look, the what happened is that if you take a look at stocks here, is that futures for the S&P 500 pushed down quite a bit here. I mean, you can see the 1 hour time frame had a relatively big sell. Now this is just futures, so obviously later today when the New York Open happens, we'll still have to see what real direction is going to come from this. But ultimately, overnight, not much happened, but we did see the Chinese A50 drop down a little bit lower, the Nikkei drop down a little bit lower. The bond yields are still stabilizing, so that's good. And the volatility index over, since yesterday closed relatively higher as well. So then, look, we talked about this yesterday as well. The fundamentals are relatively stable here relative to last week. But ultimately, they're not at amazing levels yet. And there still is quite a lot of uncertainty, not only about what's going to happen with this whole trade war, but also what's going to happen to the economies of China and the US. And today we had some economic news and some more, bearish economic outlooks coming from China. But that's it's much too early to call that anything but premature, because obviously we haven't really seen the effects of the tariffs yet, and that will matter. But I'll definitely keep an eye on that. What's going to matter today in terms of economic data? We have some US economic data with the retail sales. I don't think that matters a lot. Historically, that never has mattered a lot. But what does matter more is the speech by Jerome Powell, which I might, if I can find a good live stream, I might actually live stream that, because things in there, like headlines from there, and just in general, his view on the monetary policy in the US, I think can make the markets move. And then if we take a look at Bitcoin right here, what happened yesterday is that the price fell down below value, right? So you had this value area low right here, and then also the previous day value area low. We dropped down below that, also leaving some imbalances, by the way. But dropped down below that and now opened much lower than the previous day value area low. So in general, look, I think it's quite likely Bitcoin is going to retest this level, this area right here, between 84,000 and 84,400. But as long as we are unable to reclaim that level as support, I'm going to have to say that the most likely direction is down, which is not too bad. I mean, we have, like, the next support is at 82,800, and then we have massive support basically all the way from 82 all the way down to 80,500. So I'm not too bearish on Bitcoin here if you zoom out, but if you zoom in, like I said, it looks more likely if you blend in the fundamentals with the technicals of yesterday, that we are going to reject and that we are going to slowly drop down lower into support. Now, like I said, if we're looking at that support, then first of all, I'm talking about the 30-day VWAP, also with a lot of liquidity at 82,800, and then my favorite price target is most likely towards 81,500 into 80,600. But that's the next support, and that's that's coming if we don't get a strong support touch from 82,800. But that remains to be seen first. All right, so that's what I would expect based on the current fundamental and technical situation. Because technically, I mean, just to give you a bit of an idea of what's possible, I mean, technically we're in this range right here. We hit the top of the range. We drop down below the POC. So just structure-wise, it's also a real possibility that we're going to drop down lower. And like I said, the main level we need to reclaim is around 84,000. If we get some good fundamental data, then we could do that. But for now, I don't see enough indication to expect that. But those are my thoughts. That's what I think you need to know. So thank you for watching. Take care and bye.